game itself.
Pinball machine?
No, it's an arcade machine, so joystick, buttons, and an LCD screen. And so the news comes in, they did a special news feature on it. So I will send you the link to that.
Do you have my UCF?
I do, yes. Yes,
Well, the
that's
people
right.
know.
That's right. So I will email
Oh,
that to
that's
you and show it
great.
to Lydia. Yeah.
Yes.
It's,
We'll go ahead and
just a
start
way
now.
for him to get that notoriety, you know.
That's tremendous.
Yeah. So
For
he's
those
doing
that don't know, I'm Joe Matisse. I'm the new boys varsity coach here. I'm going to let the captains introduce themselves really quick, and then they can go sit down. So these will be the captains for this upcoming season. So guys, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Grant, and I'm going to be a senior next year.
I'm Jack, I'm going to be a junior.
And I'm Josh. I'll be a senior. So they'll be helping out along the way with a lot of this stuff. So they've been running captains practices and doing a pretty good job so far. So these are the captains. You guys can go sit down unless you have anything else.
No, if you guys just have any questions concerning like kids play or anything that's not too serious, you can ask us. If you know, it's not too big of a deal. We're willing to talk to them.
Thank
They've
you.
been here a little longer than I have, so they'll probably actually know a little more about all the inner workings of how things work until I get caught up. So this is Brian Stout. He's going to be the assistant. You can give him a little background about yourself. Really quick.
So last 2 years I've been the assistant coach over at Hamlin University in St. Paul, helping out with the men's program. That's how I met Joey, and then he called me up one day to say he got the head coaching job and he wanted to bring me. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to working with your boys and adding this experience. So happy to be here.
All right, so for me, just a little background information. Originally from New Mexico, moved here about 10 years ago, still not used to winter. Pretty miserable thing. Been playing soccer pretty much my whole life. Played collegiately, got to attend a national championship while I was in college, which was an awesome experience. Then since then I've been kind of playing where I can, mainly co-ed championship leagues, best competition out there right now. And ODP is one of the things I've been coaching. I've also been at Maplebrook for the last 6 years. I'm the director of goalkeeping there now. So I'm in charge of the whole goalkeeping program and coach a couple teams over there. So if you ever want to know anything more, feel free to come up. We could talk, but just so we don't have you guys stuck here all night, we'll just kind of roll through. As far as how many coaches we're expecting, I have a JV coach who couldn't be here right now. His name is Greg Queering. He's tied up with some stuff, so he can't be here. We are looking to add 1 or 2 other coaches right now, so we have a couple people we are interviewing and going through a process with. We will hopefully have it locked in the next week or 2. So it also is somewhat dependent on numbers. So if you haven't registered under the Chance Soccer website, please make sure you register so I know roughly how many players we'll have, which will determine how many teams we have. Right now, I think we have roughly 50 people registered. So we're safe for 3 teams. I imagine we'll get closer to 60, 65. So that'll put us right in that 4-team area. So vision for the program, I want it to be more of a family. I don't want this to end up being, you come here for 2 months, play soccer for a month and a half, and you don't go see anyone. This is actually going to be building a program. It's going to be building a little soccer community. I want to build a bigger fan base. I want to build a bigger program. Instead of having 60 kids in the program, I'd love to have 100. So we will be doing a lot of team bonding events. We'll be doing a lot of stuff with the community to try to attract more people into the program. At the end of the day, these are the people that you're going to kind of see for the next 2 months straight, every day, in and out. So we want to be as close as we can. The more people we bring in and the more success we draw, and the bigger the program's going to be, the more successful we'll be as a program. Hopefully the more fun the kids have. So my overall vision is to build a really strong program that's connected to both the school and the community. Season expectations, practices, you'll most likely be running 5 practices a week until you have games starting, and then once you have games going, you'll pretty much practice every day that you don't play. So you'll pretty much have soccer 5 to 6 days a week during the season. We're going to go on to the registering now. There's 2 places to register for the program. The first one is the school's actual website for the soccer program. There's not a lot of information on there. I do not have access to it yet. Apparently, the person who can grant me access does not work a lot in the summer. So I am waiting to get access. Once I get access to that, I will do everything I can, but that is where they need to register for tryouts. They must get on that. That's going to go to the school. The school then send me the list, so I'll have all the emergency contact info and all that stuff. So that is the #1 place to register. All the communication will be done through chansoccer.com. And that's a website we share with the girls program. There's a Storm Boys page that'll have all the information. So that's the other place you want to register, so you have an account there. That way, for instance, tryouts, basically what will happen is once you're registered in the Chance Soccer thing, that's how we'll announce tryouts. There will be a posted list on the website, but we'll basically place everyone and you'll get an email saying congratulations, you've made this team, congratulations, you made this team. So make sure you're registered there, but we will also do a posted list there. So those are the two main websites. I believe they are listed in your guys' handout, so you should have those there. Tryouts will be August 17th to 21st at Vandermeer. We have tryout jerseys, which will become your practice jerseys. Main reason for this was Joe ordered them before I got here. So, but I am actually happy he ordered them because a lot of the teams I coach typically have a training jersey. Makes life a lot easier for us coaches, not having to have kids in different colors when we need to do pennies. If you're all in the same color, it's much easier to split teams. And if we have one kid in red and I only have a red penny, but I need him to be on the other team, it just doesn't work out. There will be 2 of them. That way they don't have to do as much laundry throughout the week. So make sure that we get those paid for. It's going to be a lot easier if they're paid for beforehand. So we can send the check in. Otherwise, if you can't, just bring the money to the tryouts. I believe Nancy will be there to collect that and hand out the shirts. Each jersey will have a number printed on the back and the front. I tried to pick them up before I got here. I just didn't have time. So I'll pick them up later, and there are pictures of them on the website. I believe they're just gold right now. So that's pretty much it for that. For tryouts, there will be 2-a-days. First one goes 8 to 10 a.m. Second one is 1 to 3. The first one is going to be more small-sided games. Second one will be a little bit bigger picture kind of stuff. In the first one, there is going to be fitness and conditioning tests. So that information's kind of up on the Chan website, the Chan Soccer one. There's a fitness packet that the boys could do to make sure they're prepared. Some of the fitness tests will be on there. So just make sure they're prepared for that. After dealing with the last 3 days of club tryouts, make sure they have a lot of water. I had a lot of kids come to our club tryouts and only brought like a water bottle like just slightly bigger than this, and they run out 10 minutes in and it was 95 degrees and there was no other water options. So we had to go buy about 300 bottles worth of water for the kids, and it's just not a good thing. So send them 2, 3, 4 water bottles because it'll probably be hot at that time too. And they will be doing a lot of running. Both sessions are required. The more sessions you have, the better chance you have, so it's in your best interest to go to them. If they cannot make something, or one of the tryout dates, then you need to be notified by email as soon as possible. So please make sure I know that. The teams will get announced that Wednesday, and like I said, they'll be announced through the Chan Soccer website. We'll post a list on it, but you'll also get a email if you're registered saying congratulations, you have made whatever team that you have made. Varsity will have a scrimmage that Friday night that we will be heading to Osseo, so that'll be at 7:30, I believe. Also, after that Wednesday practice, I'll leave it up to each coach. Varsity will train twice on Thursday, so you'll expect those same 2-a-days on Thursday. We'll train once on Friday morning and then have a game that night. JV, B squad, and freshmen, I'll leave it up to their coaches. They'll train at one of the 2 time slots. It may be twice, it may be once. So that'll be their decision for those coaches. The JV team will have a trip that Saturday. They will be going to Fairmont. So that'll be a little fun trip for the JV team, a little bit of team bonding. So I think the earliest the games start there are 9, and they end at like 3, I believe. So if your son makes JV, plan on that trip happening. So that'll kind of be the tryout week. The next week, the coaches will, once again, have a little say in what time they train. I'm gonna urge them to train at the time we'll be training during the season, which will be between 3 and 6, just so the kids can start getting used to it. And hopefully it's a little easier on you guys for getting them rides if they can't get there. Uniforms, got new uniforms this year. They are Under Armour. Both varsity and JV will get them. The numbers, I believe, are set up so basically if you're on JV, you could come up and not have to worry about a varsity player having your number. So it's going to be kind of free-flowing, which will be nice. B squad and 9th grade, if we have the 9th grade team, will be using the old uniforms. See if there's anything else over here. There is going to be a new checkout process. I'll just read this off for you guys. Uniform inventory form will document what garments are checked out to each player. So basically, we are going to keep track of everything that is checked out. The school is buying matching bags for the varsity team this year, so those must come back. So anything that is checked out from a uniform that you personally did not buy must come back to the school. Grades could be held for the uniform, and a new if you do not return it, you will be liable for the cost of everything that is missing, which runs up to about $150. The Spirit Wear store is open, so hopefully you guys have visited already. If not, the website link is right under. There is some stuff for the boys, including a warm-up shirt, long sleeve, short sleeve, I believe a drawstring bag. There is some Spirit Wear for the parents specifically. I believe there's a heather navy top for both the moms and dads, different cuts. So moms, you can have your own cut, and dads, you can have your own cut of it. So hopefully it'll fit you better. That store will close on Thursday, August 20th. So anything you want must be ordered by then. It does take 3 to 4 weeks to come in. So just be aware that it's not going to be here like if you ordered it off Amazon Prime 2 days later. So it does take time because they do print on it and they have to wait for Under Armour to send it in. So just be aware of that. Players can purchase anything. There's no specialized, this is only for varsity, this is only for this team. Anything on there is fair game. Varsity is required to order the warm-up top and pants, short sleeve and long sleeve jerseys, or training pregame jerseys, I guess. So that will be required for the varsity boys. Anyone else, you're welcome to order the warm-ups, long sleeve, short sleeve training tops, pregame tops, whatever you want. That's on there is fair to go. The parent gear is also available. So anything you want on that store, just make sure you order it before August 20th, and it'll come a couple weeks later. So moving on, we are going to introduce the Booster Club. The Booster Club is here specifically to assist us along the way. Their whole goal is to make sure it runs smoothly and behind the scenes. I can't run everything, and nor do I get paid enough to run everything. So we have to make sure we have people here along the way. So throughout the years, not everyone's here. You're here for 4 years or less, depending on situations. So we will need people to always be stepping up to join the Booster Club. Your whole goal is to help. There's no real decision making. It's just to make sure that everything I need done gets done properly. So the president of the Booster Club this year is Nancy Olson. So that's her waving right there. Sandy Sweetster is the VP. Dan Allen is the secretary. Lori Dennis is the treasurer. And Shyla Allard is at large. At large, sorry. That day. So I've been doing trials since 6 in the morning to 8 at night every day this week, so I'm a little fried and spent. I'll let Nancy come up and kind of talk about how everything's going to function through the Booster Club now.
Okay. The one thing Joey didn't talk about is we're thinking about the Booster Club, and what our main responsibility is really it's making sure that the program has the funds it needs to do what it wants to do or needs to do during the school year. The trip that the JV team is taking in August, there's a fee associated with that we need to cover. senior night, the banquet, senior gifts, coaches' gifts. Some of these things are longstanding traditions here. The Blue and Gold Dinner, which has primarily been a varsity event, senior night. All of these things take money to pull off, and we can't spend money that we don't have. So one of the things that we've been working on over the last number of months is really trying to look at what can the Booster Club do to really support the entire program and feel like it's supporting the entire program. So some of the changes that we're looking at instituting this year are not just having the Blue and Gold Dinner. We will still have the Blue and Gold Dinner, so no, we'll have that. But that all of the teams should have an opening game, dinner. And that JV will have one, and the B squad will have one, and the freshman team will have them, and everybody will have that kind of special opening game dinner. Not called the Blue and Gold, but it is their opening game dinner. And we're working on getting those venues lined up for all of the teams. That dinner would always be the night before their first game. So it's on, if you look on the back of the agenda, we kind of put the entire calendar, at least as we know it right now, on there. So we put things like when is senior night and when is opening day dinners, and all of that stuff is on here. The only date that isn't on here is the banquet, which typically is in early November, and we will be working to finalize that date shortly. But everything that we know right now is on here, including those dinners. So with all of that said, we did kind of deplete our funds this year with uniforms. We're in a rebuilding year. We do get new uniforms every 3 years. The uniforms that the B squad and the freshman team are inheriting are Adidas uniforms, and they're really in great shape. I mean, they look really great. So I think all of our teams are going to look super sharp because the freshmen and the B squad have really great uniforms that have been well cared for, and then the varsity and JV will have the new Under Armour uniforms. What we need to work on is not only covering our operating expenses this year, but we also need to work on kind of building that surplus up. We're on a 3-year, usually, uniform rotation, so we need to start building our...
Can I interrupt 1 second? So the financial side is actually overlooked at a lot of high school programs, but honestly the most important piece, one of the last programs I was at Osseo. When we got there, we're like, where's the Booster Club? Who's in charge of the Booster Club? They said, what's a Booster Club? There wasn't a single cent, and it makes the season very difficult. You don't get the fun opportunities. You don't get the end of the year banquets. It doesn't function. Something happens where you all of a sudden had a water pipe break in the storage room and ruin your jerseys. There's no money to replace it. So we do need to make the main focus rebuilding that account. So we need, if for instance, for some reason all of a sudden we had enough kids to put 5 teams together, instead of me cutting 20 kids, it would be much easier if we had a nice amount that we had reserved, that we could say, okay, we'll hire another coach and have a 5th team to get these players these opportunities. But none of that happens if we don't have funds saved up. So as parents, the main way you can help your player and the program is to make sure any fundraising ideas, if you have any good ones, you let us know. And when we do fundraise, we need full participation. I'm going to make sure the varsity's there. I will be there. JV, B squad, freshman, I don't care who you are, you're all in the program. The program as a whole, it's not individual teams. So everyone will be there to participate to make sure that we are building. So it's a critical piece that we need to really focus on.
So with that, also, in addition to all of this, we did create a Booster Club membership. It's the second page on your form. One of the things, again, that the board has done over the last number of months is kind of poll, what do we want to do, what kind of makes the most sense, and overpriced nuts and pizza and all of that stuff just doesn't seem to be super popular. And so what we went with, looking at what we know our expenses to be and looking at kind of upping the support that the Booster Club gives to the entire program, we have come up with 2 levels of membership. The blue level is $75, and it basically provides program support, and it gives your player a ticket to the end of season banquet. The gold level gives you the same thing as the blue level, but in addition to that, that's how you get your Superfan t-shirt. So and I know what they look like. But and they're awesome. But we do have Superfan t-shirts this year, and that's what you get for going into the gold level. The form can either be turned in tonight with your check, or I've put Lori Dennis, who's our treasurer, I've put her address on there, and you can mail the form in your check there. This isn't this isn't required. This isn't mandated, but as Joey said, this is part of the way that we support this program. You know, without us supporting it financially, we really can't do the things we want to do for the program as a whole. So this is really important, and I would really strongly encourage everyone to take a look and join. So that is booster membership.
The end of the year banquet's very nice, Hazeltine.
And the year banquet was very nice. Hazeltine, we're looking at Hazeltine again, kind of in that November 9th through the 11th kind of time frame. We'll hopefully get that date nailed down pretty soon. Last year, just so you get a sense of the tickets, I think we're looking at the tickets being about $30 a player just to go to the banquet. So if you do that blue level of membership, you do get that ticket to the banquet for your player as well. So, Booster Club. Thank you, Dan. That was a nice cue. Moving on, volunteer. Oh, wait, back up. I'm skipping over something. We actually do have some fundraising opportunities on the calendar already. The biggest one is really kind of the sky's the limit. On August 22nd, Lori Dennis has put this one together. I think somebody in Arizona did it. We have a Goodwill truck that's going to be here at the high school, and there is it's on our website if you haven't seen it, but bring your Goodwill donations, and Goodwill will pay us by the pound for qualified donations. Now, you can't bring furniture. That's one of the big ones, so we can't load it up with a bunch of couches and get a ton of money. But I've been kind of pulling books. That's the one I've been going for. It's like books, pots and pans, stuff like that. Great ideas are if you see people who, you know, have a garage sale and they're looking to kind of clear out the rest of the stuff to Goodwill. We have the Goodwill slips, so if you guys want to go drive around and pick this stuff up for people, you can actually give them the Goodwill slip and collect all the stuff, and then it's in the truck on August 22nd. We're hoping to raise about $1,000 with this one event. So the more stuff we bring, the more money we earn. So that's our first one, is the fill a truck. We also have, Dan Allen has gotten Cub lined up for bagging. We have a 6-hour time slot, so we will have signups for that for parent volunteers and players to volunteer for that one. So
Cub Chaska.
Cub Chaska, thank you. We've got that one
Yep.
already on the calendar, and then the last one, which we're just waiting for, is the Chipotle one. You just have to come and eat, and tell people to come and eat. They are extremely generous. They donate 50% of everything they take in during that window of time that they give us. Last year it was almost $900, which means we eat a lot. Or something. I don't know, but it was crazy. We get just an incredibly generous donation from Chipotle. It's always on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because they want it to be on their slower nights, which we want it to be on their slower nights too, right? But those are the 3 that are on the books right now, and certainly if something else pops up, we will definitely entertain that, but we're trying to kind of give us the most bang for the buck in terms of putting time in and getting something that's financially rewarding and really helps the club. So that's it in the booster area. And then the last thing, and I'll move on to, is the last really big thing, which is volunteer opportunities. And you know, again, it's the parents and the coaches and the players and everybody coming together that makes this whole thing really work. I think when you're, this is my 3rd year here, which is weird, but it is my 3rd year here, and it's fun to be a part of it. I mean, the season is really short, and it's really fun to be a part of it, and getting involved and volunteering is a great way to feel like you're a part of it. You've got a little slip. It's the last slip here. I hopefully didn't make it too microprint, but I can't read it without my glasses, but hopefully everybody else can. But I did list out kind of the main things that we're looking for. The biggest one is once the teams are formed, we really, really, really need a parent or a parent team to step forward as the managers for that team. Shyla's been a manager, Sandy's been a manager, Lori's been a manager, and Elizabeth, you are the manager. The team doesn't function without the manager. They really are the main communicator to the team, for the team. They're the arranger, the organizer, anything with an ER on the end, that's pretty much what the team manager is. If you're interested, as the time comes by, you can seek any of us out, and I'm more than happy to tell you kind of a little bit more about it, but that's probably one of the most critical positions that we need to get filled once the teams are formed, is that team manager spot. Moving down, we go from being a team manager to hosting a spaghetti dinner, which means you're opening your house to 16 plus young men who will behave very well, but eat like horses very quickly. Everything that you have out. So if you don't want to eat, and don't put it out, because it will go away. But we need people to host spaghetti dinners. Every team has about 3 to 4 spaghetti dinners during the course of the season, so we're looking for people to host that. If you're hosting it, it doesn't mean that you're on the hook for all the food. It just means that you've opened up your house and everybody kind of contributes and donates during the course of the season to the pasta dinners. They're kind of fun. We're looking for an announcer for the varsity home games. So if you've got a booming voice and want to get out there and introduce the starting lineups and kind of say goal when someone scores, us, when we score.
You can yell off sides when they score.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
We're looking for an announcer for the varsity home games. We're also looking for somebody who's interested in doing videography for the varsity games. Frankly, any of the games. I mean, there's no limit. If people want to video any of the games, we'll take it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
B squad, freshman, JV, anything videotaped. So if the coach wants, I know with varsity we'll be going back to actually look at film and kind of break that down. At the other levels, the coaches will have those opportunities, but also it's a lot of fun to put it all together, present it at your banquet video. Especially if you catch something special, then you can always keep that. So any level, if someone's willing to videotape, pictures, anything, we'll take it all.
Yep, absolutely. So, and again, and a lot of times we've been looking for, last year we really looked to see if there were any students that wanted to step forward and have that be maybe like a capstone project. So if you've got somebody who's maybe not even in the soccer program but kind of has an interest in that arena, let us know, because we will work with anybody to try and make that work. Photographers, Joey alluded, the more the merrier. As many pictures as you can get. The volunteer form says, yes, I want to take, there's one for, yes, I want to take pictures. There's another one that's a slightly larger commitment that is, I will take all the pictures that people take and then I'll put them together, because we do an end of year slideshow every year that's kind of fun as well. And we need kind of one point person on the team to kind of gather all those pictures together and get them to what is the third opportunity, which is Shyla, who has been our slideshow producer for the last 3 years. This is her 4th year and final year, and we are really looking for an in-training person to kind of take over that slideshow. And if you want to learn at the hands of Master, this is the year to do it. So that's on there as well, so a lot of photography opportunities. Senior night, we need a crew to kind of run senior night. Usually it's one planning meeting before the event and then set up and take down after the event. It's really fun. It's a little kind of burst of a commitment. We really try to take care of this for the senior parents, so the senior parents can enjoy the evening with their kids and not feel like they're having to work their own party. So it's a time for the underclassmen to step forward for senior night. That is October 3rd. The game times haven't been finalized yet.
Oh, sorry, they just get finalized. They'll be, JV will play at 5, and then they'll stay and hopefully watch the varsity game, which will be at 7.
And the seniors on the JV team will be
Yeah.
up on the varsity for that night. So 5 and 7, so it'll be an evening event on October 3rd. So we need a volunteer, we need a crew of people to come together. The more the merrier. It is fun. End of year banquet, we kind of need another crew to come together to plan it out. We have a little bit more of a script now that we've done in a couple of years. Hazeltine is a great venue, which really takes a lot of pressure off of trying to find something that we can afford, because they do have a kind of a kids, I don't want to say kids package, but they kind of have a student package where they really try to cater to student teams or organizations, which has made things a lot easier. So we do need end of year banquet, and then the last one, which is going to be the first one, is uniform checkout and return. We just want to make sure that we're keeping track of everything that's going out and everything we're expecting to come back in, so we need some people to volunteer for that. It does need to be somebody who can be available during the day, because all of our uniforms are here in the lockers, so we need to be able to get into it when it's available to be gotten into. I think I said that right. So hopefully tonight, I mean, if you're comfortable, I mean, would love to see Booster Club forms filled out and checks tonight. Would love to get volunteer slips back tonight. Certainly if you need to go home and mail it in, you can mail both of them, the volunteer slip and the Booster Club, to Lori. Certainly you can email me. I've been emailing all of you for months, so everybody has my email address, I'm sure, somewhere. That's kind of what I have in terms of booster and volunteer, and I think the only thing left is if you guys have any questions.
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry again, I'm just kind of out of it today with these last couple of days. A couple things I accidentally skipped over. First one, the field expectations and classroom expectations of the players. So field expectations, really simple. You come to practice, you're on time. On time is typically early. You make sure that whatever you take out of your bag is back in your bag. There's no leaving tape, garbage, anything, water bottles. We take care of the fields we use, the areas we use. We make it look professional. You show up in your appropriate attire, so your training jersey and training shorts, whatever you have, whatever your coach asks. You know what you need to show up in. You show up in that every day. Big emphasis on looking professional as a program. So there's that. Obviously, you come, you work hard, and you do everything you can do. I'm very big on there's only one thing you can ever control in a game, no matter what sport, and that's how much effort you put into it. Can't control ref, weather, anything else. So that's the one thing you can control, so that always needs to be there 100% of the time. Now, going into classroom expectations, all varsity players will be expected, if they have classrooms that are seated in rows, to be seated in the first or second row, to make sure they're not texting, tweeting, Facebooking, Instagramming, anything, and actually paying attention. We will start talking about college recruiting and stuff like that. For any player who aspires to play in college, your grades matter. On the boys' side in Minnesota, there is no Division I or Division II soccer programs. Your options are junior college or Division III. The Division III schools are very expensive. I know because I went to one. Brian knows because he went to one. You will pay a lot of money if you have bad grades and struggle to get in. So if those are your options, you must make sure you're taking care of it in the classroom, because that is where you get scholarship money as a player. Even Division I, Division II, NAIA, every school loves a player with a good GPA, because they say, I have X number of dollars that I can scholarship out to. So if I can bring this kid in who's got a 4.0, and the school is going to pay him $10,000 for having a 4.0, hopefully it's more than that for that kind of grade, they don't have to pay as much out of their budget. So you're going to be a lot more interesting to them than a player who has a 2.1, and you need to kind of dig into your bank account, and you need to call some favors into admissions to get them in on that play. So they will be expected to sit in those first two rows, and there will be bi-monthly progress reports, which will basically ask the teachers to sign off and say how many classes they missed. They better not be skipping, and to give, I haven't decided on what the minimum grade will be, but they will be having their grades built in. So if they do not get those handed in to me, they will most likely miss the first half as a minimum of the next game. So the lower level teams will have the bi-monthly reports as well. whether they sit in the front row will be up to their coaches. I can't physically come into the school to make sure you guys are doing it, but I'm sure I'll get to meet some of the teachers along the way, and I'm sure I'll meet some people in the school along the way, so I will find out whether people are doing it or not. But I will tell you, I absolutely hated that rule when I was in college. It drove me nuts because I love to text during class. My GPA shot up as high as it's ever been that first semester, so it pays off. So there is that. If for any reason there is a conflict, playing time, anything, playing time is not discussable as why am I not playing. It is going to, you can ask what do I need to do to earn more time, but it's not really going to be discussable. There's no, well, I'm just as good as he, why is he playing more than me? There's only what can I do to improve. If there is some sort of issue, the way it's going to go down, and we'll have this in the website, and we'll probably, I don't remember if we have, I think we have one more meeting. Player will meet with the coach first. If that doesn't get resolved, the player will meet with me first. If that doesn't get resolved, the parents can come meet with me, and then if there's still an issue, then the parents meet and the AD will meet. Never had to have that happen before. Usually it's gets resolved in the first step, but the boys are old enough where they should start handling any issues that they have, so they must speak with the coach first. There is a 24-hour rule for any situation. If you're upset about playing time or you didn't get the answer you wanted out of your player-coach meeting, you must wait 24 hours. If you send us anything in that time, we will not respond. Main reason for that is to make sure everyone's on a level head, because when you're angry, it's very easy to say things that you don't mean to say. It's very easy to come off a lot angrier and have it interpreted poorly. So there is that rule, so make sure that that is followed. Like I said, rarely do we have these issues, but they are an important piece. With tryouts, the teams are finalized. For those who were here earlier, you probably heard me on my phone very upset with our club DOC because I've had about 6 phone calls today from our tryouts that were posted. There's no negotiating it. It is what it is. Once again, you can ask, hey, what do I need to do? What do I need to improve on to make that next team? Okay? But there's no why did he make it and I not make it. There's no well, I'm better than him. So the tryouts are as they are. So there's no negotiating your team placement. There's only asking what you can do to improve. And as a player, that should always be your goal. Because if you're just as good as him, that's not good enough for me. Because if I have him and he's just as good as you, why do I need you? If that makes sense. So you need to figure out what you need to do to be better than that. So there's kind of that. The last thing about the uniforms, if they do not get returned, if you're a freshman, one of the main things they do is you're not allowed to walk as a senior until everything gets returned. If you're a freshman, that's not really an incentive because you're like, it's 4 years, who cares?
I got 4 years.
Probably forget by then. I can find it in 3. There is one other thing they do, and that is dances. You do not get permitted to dances if you don't return your stuff. Okay? There is a list. The dance committee is usually super lazy and doesn't check it unless they are asked to check it. So if you do not have your stuff in, I will be making sure that they are checking it. I do not want to have to replace stuff. It gets very annoying to have to call in our uniform distributor and say, I need 1 jersey number 34, because he goes, well, I need you to order 12 of them for me to get it. So I'm not paying for 12 jerseys because someone didn't return their one. So if you want to have dances and all that stuff, make sure your jerseys and stuff get back. So I think that's all I have. Are there any questions so far?
I see you've scheduled an interesting game for the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain that a little bit to the group?
We got the opportunity. Coach emailed us from out of state. It's an Illinois school. They asked us to play. They look like a really good school. I want to play a good team, so we accepted to host them for a game, I believe JV and varsity. So this will be an interesting opportunity. If it goes well, I will potentially be speaking with Austin about them hosting us next year. So we would go down as a team and play at Illinois school or 2 for a weekend. So hopefully it'll go well. I have no idea about the team. They seem to have a good record. So it should be an interesting opportunity, and hopefully it pans out well, and we have
Start a new tradition.
a great new tradition that we have with the new school and make new alliance. So, yes.
Hi, I'm a high school teacher, and I had some concerns in previous years. Are the coaches trained in the fact that they're working within a high school setting?
Yes.
And because in the past, I've seen coaches, in my mind as a teacher, that were inappropriate in terms of telling jokes and things like that.
Yeah,
I also
well-
heard a lot of swearing from players as they were warming up before games, and as a high school teacher, I was like, I can't believe that this coach isn't addressing this. I just want to make sure that the coaches, that they know this is within a high school
Yes,
setting.
we'll have that conversation. There is a big emphasis on being appropriate. I was not thrilled with my high school experiences and some of the things that happened with coaches and along those lines and how things were behaved. With that said, you know, we'll do our best to keep swearing down. I train 2 kids who are going to play Division I soccer, and we train at a park all the time. And they drive me nuts because they mess up and they'll yell and scream, and I have yelled at them so many times because we're in public and they're using poor language, and sometimes certain players just do not get it. If that is a big issue, then we will have to find ways to make sure that we are behaving appropriately.
Well, it's one thing when the kids are doing it, but when the coach isn't addressing it, that's a
Yeah.
bigger issue.
So that'll be
It's
handled
called
in,
playing time.
I'm not gonna make a huge
Right.
scene. I don't wanna draw more
Playing
attention to
time.
it. If it happens during a game, that's something that'll be handled in behind the scenes for me. But yes, the coaches will be having a conversation with me about appropriate behavior between players and how players interact with each other.
And between player and coach.
Yeah, so
The captains, I'm sure, play an important role there as well.
we will have a conversation with them. So, yes.
Can we mail in the $30 tryout jersey fee to Lori, or do you want to?
You know what, that's totally fine. I think that's, yeah, I think that's.
Is that good, is that not good?
Well, you know what, because what we'll just do is if you've already mailed it in and we have it, then we can just check you off on the list ahead of time, and then when you come in to get, then all you do is just come grab your 2 jerseys and we're done. So that's not a problem. Yeah, awesome.
I would just recommend that it's mailed in enough days that it's there before tryouts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, the check is in the mail, may not work on the day of
That
tryouts.
was Lori.
Is there any other questions? All right, well, that's, I think, pretty much everything I have. Did you guys have anything else, or you good? Okay, so I'm looking forward to building a really nice program here. I'll need everyone's help along the way to do it, so thanks for coming, and hopefully next time we'll have more people, and as we go, this whole room will be packed one day, because we have 100 kids in the program versus 50 to 60, so. Question?
This is the $30 check, who is that made out to?
All of the checks should be made out to Chanhassen Booster Club dash boys soccer. So everything just, it's Chanhassen Booster Club boys soccer. So if you put that on the check, which is what is on, if you do it the same as the.
Can you combine the check with the, sure, you want 2 separate checks?
Sure.
If you
Combine's
combine
fine.
it, just maybe put a little note in
Post it
there.
on it, includes $30 tryout.
Yeah, hopefully we can figure out the
Yeah,
math.
otherwise I might put it all towards booster. No.
Lori's good.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's all, so you guys can
Ready.
go enjoy the rest of your night.